tell me more about this declare with Creed. Like what happened after that? You were told he was declared, and that was it?
I was having a hard time with it.
Yeah.
And Ann Menier at the Clearwater Mission was, kind of my soundboard, as I was working my way through it. Because I was still seeing Creed, I was still talking to Creed. And she was like, you can't be talking to Creed, and she actually had someone from Office of Special Affairs come to the mission and pulled me into a little office and told me lies about Creed. And I was sitting there listening to this, and it broke my heart because I realized at that moment they probably told those same lies to his children and whom have disconnected from him. And that was hard. That was probably the hardest thing for me, was to watch this grown man who, smart, rich, successful, caring, amazing person break down and cry. And cry and cry and cry. And I couldn't believe I was the only one that would talk to him. Out of all of these people that he's helped, it made me sick. And it was at that point I thought, I'm not sure I want to be part of this group anymore.
Okay. When you say that the guy from OSA came and told you a bunch of lies, the first question, of course, that occurs to me is, how did you know they were lies?
Because I know Creed. They were saying things ridiculous like, he's a drug dealer. Really? He makes pornographic movies. What? He tried to kill his wife. Really? Oh my God. And I thought, these are ludicrous lies that they just went, bleh. We know Creed.
Yeah.
Creed's quirky.
Creed wouldn't do that.
Creed's not that.
Creed is strange. He's a good friend.
We love you, Creed.
But we love you. But none of those things would Creed wouldn't do any of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Now, when he told you these things, did he show you the written declare order? Because they always have a written statement of, Creed Pearson, suppressive person declare, and here's all the things that,
No.
They don't give those out anymore, Chris.
No, I know they don't, but they do keep them on file, and they will show them to people, and then put it back in the file, right? And I'm just wondering, in the process of this, did they show you his declare?
No.
Now, that's very important, and I'm glad I asked that, because in Scientology, there's a very important rule, which is, if it isn't written...
It isn't true.
That's right. And this is actually supposed to be one of the rock bottom fundamental pieces of information from Hubbard about how you're supposed to go about operating or believing things in Scientology, as if it isn't written, in writing.
But there's been so many, Chris.
You walk out of the office thinking what exactly?
That guy was an asshole.
The OSA guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't trust him. I mean, I was shaken. I thought, wow, I put a lot of trust and faith in these people. And I was just blatantly lied to.
Okay, so you never bought it?
No.
Now, you talked to other people, the ED of the mission, other Scientologists who did buy it?
Oh, yeah.
And what did they, so what happened?
She came to me about it and told me the whole General Prescott story, and that Creed was doing some research and buying older materials and comparing them, and she had said a few things about what they had said to him, and I was still like, well, he had to have done something. It's always the person's fault. It's never Scientology's fault. You have to understand there's 40 steps. I talked to her kind of like she was like naive or stupid, which didn't make her happy.
I can imagine.
Say the big line. Say the line.
Which line would that be? That you're right?
No, say that anytime you want. No, he would leave my ass.
Oh yeah, we were
seeing Creed.
We were having a debate today as to where that took place, and it might have taken place both places. But she remembers down by we lived on a lake, and there was a little lake down there, and there was a park bench, and I said something to the effect, "I will leave your fucking ass if you don't disconnect from Creed Pearson." That's the kind of mentality. When you're there, the paper doesn't even have to come out in Clearwater. Meaning the SP declare. Whispers of it, people leave like, they there's a swath between of leaving the person. They don't even go and investigate. The paper is very seldom seen. It's Facebook, it's word of mouth. It's like, well, for instance, I mean, there was one family member that text message broke up with his own son.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sent him a text message about leaving. So it's like, that's the culture when you don't, and the culture is that person who's being declared is wrong. Hubbard's not wrong. Miscavige is not wrong. The church is not wrong. That person has done something, and they will uncover it, and it's their fault and their fault only.
All right. So that was what you were thinking.
Oh, hell yeah. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, yeah.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy, and if you stick around him, I can't be married to you, so I will fucking leave.
Got it.
I said it rather...
No, I appreciate the candor. So then that happens. So you're like, this is bullshit, and he's like, no, you're fucking bullshit. So then, what happens next?
Oh my God, lots of stuff.
Stress.
Pray tell, what occurred?
About 7 years of stress.
Yeah. I mean,
We stayed together for 7 years.
Since then.
Yeah, because this was 2007. This went down.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So you guys obviously you didn't leave until last year. So what? So what happened after that? Like, did you disconnect from Creed or
No.
Okay.
I just didn't tell him.
She hid it.
Yeah.
Right.
The only reason that I found out again is my daughter was there with one of her friends, and they teach the kids to be sort of like Nazi youth, to report on their parents and write knowledge reports.
She was just there. She told Sophie later.
Was that what happened?
Yeah. Creed came to the house.
Okay, go ahead.
And while he was there, we went inside, and I introduced him to my daughter, Larissa.
That's right.
And I could see she was freaked. She was scared, like, oh my gosh, you brought this guy into our house. But I was really hoping, because of other things that she had communicated to me, that she'd be a little more open to meeting him. But you forget, I mean,
You forget you indoctrinate your kids to stay away from the bad
I was
guys.
scared when Creed would show up unannounced, and I thought, oh my gosh, as much as I knew what a good guy he was, and how this whole disconnection thing was bullshit, what it could do, the repercussions of what it could do to you socially, financially, maritally, it could just mess you up if you got in trouble and got declared like I did.
Right. Which eventually happened. So on the road to that, when was it he came over with this and Larissa saw him?
It was before Shiloh was born. So it's probably 08.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say 08, yeah.
All right, so he's still hanging around Clearwater. You guys are still maintaining communication. Mm-hmm. What happened next? Then what?
Well, she wrote a report. Or no, excuse me. She told her friend Sophie, and Sophie happened, to be dating Creed's son. And it's a small, very incestual kind of community.
Oh, but Creed's
Clearwater.
son had disconnected from Creed.
Right.
It wasn't like Creed's son was still living at home with Creed.
Oh,
they
no.
were done.
Yeah.
Yep.
His whole family disconnected from him.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so Larissa tells Sophie. Sophie is going out with Creed's son, and blah.
Yeah, anyway, so Sophie writes a report, a knowledge report.
Yeah.
And so, like one of many, I guess, that have been written on me that I've never seen.
Did any ethics officer contact you, or what happened?
No, in fact, I think it was maybe a year later, I think. Again, there's a backlog in ethics. So Patricio didn't get to me, the MAA, Master at Arms, he didn't get to me until, maybe a year later, and was trying to get me to come in, and talk to him. And I wasn't there yet. I didn't want to talk to him about anything, This isn't, why would I go to, a Hitler Youth to talk and complain about Hitler,
Okay.
So
had you pretty much decided at this point that you were done with Scientology then, in terms of doing more services?
I wish it could have been that decisive. I mean, I didn't want to break up my family.
Yeah.
So I was still trying to justify it in my own head and go, okay, well, some of these courses are pretty good. Some of this stuff's okay. And I was even trying to talk to my sons about it, because both my boys had definitely made up their mind. They were done. And I say, hey, don't write the whole thing off. There's some good stuff. And truly there is. But the truth is, you've got to get out of it. and then maybe go back to it gently, very objectively from a distance, safe distance, if you're going to study the stuff, because it's dangerous. I mean, really, to jump in with both feet and read and just totally saturate yourself with this information. The ethics book, for instance, this is something Creed pointed out to me. I didn't realize you can be hypnotized so subtly. And at the beginning of every chapter in the ethics book, it says, we are the only group. We're the only hope. I mean, that's the first thing it says in every chapter of the ethics book. It's like, there it is, just feeding you this, whatever.
Yes. The language of Scientology is extremely important in how it's used to control.
I wanted to say something else about Creed, to give you another idea of how fanatic the people are in Clearwater. There was a fellow who worked for Creed for a while and borrowed a large amount of money from Creed. Of course, now he denies that he ever did that. You know, what's the church going to do? Because he and his wife wound up turning over quite a bit of that money to the church. Church isn't going to, make them pay it back.
Certainly not.
So Creed's out that money. But anyway, I met with this fella, and we were talking about it. I said, Creed feels pretty certain that you owe him this money, and you worked for him, and I think he considered you a friend. I said, you do realize that when all this happened and he got declared and his family left him, that he wanted to kill himself. And this guy's reaction, he says, I wish he would have. I mean, that's sick. This is what Scientology, this is a product of Scientology. This is what you get. You get a cold-hearted asshole.